Hey, so I watched this video this morning from Dwayne Johnson, the guy that used to be The Rock. And, he's such an interesting guy, and I have so much respect for the guy because it's like, how in the world could he go from being the guy that was wearing that little tight Speedo thing, as The Rock doing those ridiculous WWE things, which, by the way, I used to watch. I remember I went to a WWE event in Madison Square Garden when I was like 11 years old. I was totally into it, and I thought the whole thing was real, but it's amazing that he went from that to doing all the things that he does now and doing major motion pictures and everything. And he was saying that in that kind of transition time period that he sat down with his talent agency, and his talent agency also represented Will Smith. And during this sort of sit down, he said that he wanted to have a career that was bigger that was like Will Smith, but bigger and better. And he said that everybody looked at him and thought that he was insane, that he was crazy. And but now, I mean, look at the guy. Like, he's totally killing it. Now, is his career bigger than Will Smith? I don't really know. But the interesting thing I thought about was, I mean, how many people have actually sat down and said, yeah, I want to have a career that's bigger than Will Smith, and said that to their talent agency and, like, actually proclaimed that? Like, how many people have done that? I was thinking maybe, like, very few. I mean, maybe just a couple of dozen people. I mean, not that many people even made that declaration. And then the other thing he said, he held up his hands and he said, and I was still willing to get my hands dirty. I was still willing to do the work. I was willing to get up at 4 a.m. and put in the work. So let's say there's a couple of dozen people that even made that declaration and made that as their goal, right? And then of that couple of dozen people, like, how many people were actually willing to work that hard and never give up and push and wake up early and go through the rejection and never stop? And I think what most people don't understand is that there actually isn't really that much competition out there. Because there's a very small group of people that are even trying to do anything. So if you think about it, like, the vast majority of humans, they work a job. They don't actually try to start their own business. So they're working a job. So if they're working a job, they're automatically not competing with you. They may be working at a company that's competing with you or something, but they're not trying to do what you're trying to do if you're out there trying to start your own business or start your own firm. So the majority of people are always already off the table, not going to compete with you. And then of the people that are trying to compete with you, if you're thinking big, right? Most people don't think big. So if you're thinking really big and you want to do something drastic, you want to do something crazy, most people aren't going to allow themselves to even think about it. I was talking with a friend last night, and I asked him, I said, well, do you want to get married? And I said, well, how old do you want the woman to be? What nationality do you want the woman to be? What language do you want her to speak? I mean, we're going through all these things. He never thought about it before. And if you never sort of make any vision in your mind about sort of your future wife and who she's going to be and what she's going to be like and what her personality is like and what her background is like and what her values are, you're just sort of you're going to end up with something random and probably not that great. It's that old quote, if you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time. And so if you think about this Dwayne Johnson situation, I always think about Dwayne Reed, but then I'm like, no, that's that pharmacy. Dwayne Johnson, I mean, very few people are saying, I'm going to be Will Smith. I'm going to be bigger and better than Will Smith. And then of the people that actually say that, which is like literally just a handful, is anybody really going to work harder than him, right? And most people won't. Most people will give up. They won't give up the sacrifice. They won't give up the weekends. They won't give up everything that they're doing. And so I always try to think, like, how can I think as big as possible? How can I try to do something huge? Because I know very few people are even going to say that. And if they're not saying that, if they're not aiming at it, there's almost no chance that you're going to hit it. I use this analogy sometimes. It's like I'm in Miami here. If I were to get in the car right now and drive to Atlanta, I'm very unlikely to end up in Salt Lake, right? So if your goal is low, you're very unlikely to get a big result. But if you get a big result, you got to realize there's actually less competition in that area of high goals and big things, because very few people even allow their mind to open up to do it. And then of the people that allow their mind to open up and do it, say, yeah, I want to do it. In Dwayne Johnson's situation, he said, I want to be as big as Will Smith. And then how many people that actually said that to their talent agency are willing to get up, are willing to do the work, are willing to do all the things that he's had to do to be as successful as he was? I saw that movie Jumanji, and I thought it was going to be pretty terrible, but it actually was pretty funny. It was actually a really hilarious movie, and they did a great job merging. I don't really like those kinds of comedies typically. I don't typically love, like, the superhero movies and everything, but that was actually a really funny and well-done movie that I saw, was it last year? Yeah, I think it was, or maybe it was earlier this year. Anyway, so I think thinking big is the first big thing that I took from it. And then also it's like, dude, if you actually think that big, very few people are even going to try. Yes, people will laugh at you, but actually there's not that much competition, because who would actually think that big? And then who would most people are thinking small. They're not thinking they can do that much. There's tons of competition on the low end stuff, guys. Tons. There's tons of competition for a job. There's tons of competition to try to do 100,000 a year. But to try to go to the top, to try to go huge, there actually really isn't that much competition. Because there's just so few people that actually believe that they can even do that. So, that's I think one of the reasons why I've been successful is that I just actually think about it. I actually think about being really successful. I think about going to as high, the biggest heights that I possibly can. And then I'm willing to get my hands dirty. I'm willing to work Saturdays. I'm willing to work Sundays. I'm willing to work nights. I'm willing to work weekends. I'm willing to do all the stuff that, most people don't want to do. And I don't want to do it either, guys. Like, I don't want to make a sales call. I don't want to work a Saturday. I don't want to work a Sunday, but I'd rather do that than not experience success. Being successful is more important to me than being comfortable. So I'm going to go and shoot this video. Hope you guys enjoy your weekend and keep crushing it out there.